welcome to another installment of the Fragments of Silicon Reviews. 4 reviews up this week, as per usual. First of which is a game called Viola, and it's Viola, not Voila, because we are talking about the actual musical instrument. Pronunciations are weird. Specifically, it's called Viola, the Heroine's Melody, which is a rhythm-based, turn-based RPG / platformer. It's juggling quite a few genres here. How well it does, I guess it gets the basics down pretty pat. I'll be honest, as a platformer, it's pretty basic. Don't go in expecting Mario, but I will also say it is a proper platformer with proper jumping. It isn't just like level design straight ahead kind of deal. No, you will be doing some platform challenges. It's just, honestly, those segments are pretty basic. The real fun comes from the RPG side of the equation, where everything is rhythm based or time hits, if you will. And if you're thinking this is going to be like Mario RPG, yes, but more complicated. And I can't necessarily say that was a good thing, because every attack, like just the basic attack, requires 2 buttons. You get 2 attacks, and it's measured about how well you are accurate to a point. It's not super strict, but there's 3 levels. There's meh, there's good, and then there's perfect. There was a surprising amount of leeway for perfect. I will say that. Granted, how fast or slow, that depended on the character. And I'll get down to my basic problem with this entire game. I did not like that battle system, at least that portion of it. The magic is also got this same kind of setup, but that is consistent. It's like casting the water spell, same sequence of buttons every time, and fairly loose there. Point is, I didn't really have a problem with that. The problem with the basic attacks is the buttons are random every time. They can be any of the face. I play with an Xbox One controller. They could be X, Y, B, or A in any order, or both at the same time. There was no rhyme or reason to it, and thus, it's not skill based anymore. Because these things, it's like Mario stuff does rely on memorization and all that stuff to get down the timing. Here, there's no actual timing. And that just didn't mesh well with me. It's like I could get used to it, but I never liked it. I can't say it's horrible, but I didn't think it worked. And yeah, I will say it's definitely a lot more full-bodied than a lot of these other indie RPGs we've reviewed in recent times. That being said, it's still a pretty simple RPG. I'd say it's comparable to what you would have gotten in the 16-bit. Hell, probably on the more advanced. Probably would have been seen as the most advanced battle system if it were an actual 16-bit RPG. That being said, I am pleased that this game isn't aping a retro style. It's got this very unique watercolor look. Definitely the part I like the most. I suppose another critique that some people might have is it's got timed hits, but it's not based on any musical predilections. You don't press buttons and the time of the music. The closest that happens to is these basically Ocarina of Time medleys and melodies, you know, and they work in opening stuff up and stuff like that, you know. And it works exactly like Ocarina of Time. You know, it's like up, down, left, right, bass buttons. You got to do that in a certain order. No. And in terms of like other role-playing mechanics, in terms of equipables, there are gems. Sometimes they have a full positive effect. Sometimes they have a sacrificial effect. That is to say, it's got better defense at the cost of resistance, or something like that. And they seem to be universal. It's just you know what do you want to equip on which character is the consideration there. And challenge, yeah, this game will get challenging at points. And
yeah, depending on the how well you do with the battle system, it can be challenging or maybe even be easy at times. It just depends, pretty much.
Or yeah, and you will feel the effects of levels gained. I will say that. Like that's always, you know, that's always a good thing with RPGs, Western or Eastern. Like you actually can see yourself getting more powerful. Like, and you know, as far as the actual in-game music, once again, it's fine for the most part. Maybe a little more indistinct than expecting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, um, and you know, really, the musical connection comes from every party member plays an instrument. You know, it doesn't really factor into things, weirdly enough. Like, it's more what the character does. Like, you know, like the beefier members will be stronger fighters, and the magic users stronger in that regard as well. You know.
Yeah, it is odd. Honestly, I was expecting a little more in terms of actual music than they just seem to be rhythm based.
Yeah. I'm like, and as far as the story goes, well, I mean, Viola is the name of the character who plays a violin, which is, you know, it's just she's really bad at it and gets so frustrated she manages to, for isekai herself to another world where, you know, predictably she wants to get back home, and also she opened up a chaos vortex that's bringing doom upon the land.
So you know, your typical Thursday night.
I mean, it's a bit more dour than what isekai does these days.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's less a power fantasy and more a adventure of self-discovery, and you know, literally part of it is the friends we made along the way.
Yeah, the whole general theme is basically about believing in yourself.
That was a motorcycle.
Right, it's that time of year again.
Yeah, and also people don't know what the hell speed limits are.
Sounds like it. Anyway, focusing back here. I will say I managed to play this in both early access state and release state. This is actually, like, I actually had this scheduled a few weeks back, but I saw this was actually getting a full release. So that's why we're reviewing in the here and now. It's 1.0. And I'm glad I did, because let me tell you, the early access build was a lot shoddier. Like, I got stuck in the environment a lot. And here's the thing. This game saves only at certain. It's checkpoint based, so there were points where I got stuck in the environment and lost progress. Not a ton of progress, but enough to make me say, "Fuck this for a day."
Yeah, I did find that a bit frustrating at times.
And with 1.0 release, I will say I still got stuck a few times, but a lot less than before. Let me tell you. So, yeah, this game is stabler, but given that apparently this is a solo development effort, it's gonna have that level of QA attached to it. You know, that's nothing against the game or the person who made it. It's just one person making a game, especially something as ambitious as this. There's going to be a few seams.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, in terms of pricing, well, the initial 1.0 was $9.99, but it's currently $14.99. $15. That's going to be a bit if you don't like what this game is doing exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's definitely I can't say a unique combination because games like Child of Light and more recently Indivisible did this kind of game style as well. Like, granted, I haven't actually played those, so I don't know how well those games did it. This game, like I said, it's an okay marriage. I just don't think it's a particularly amazing platform game. Like, you could really tell the focus was more on the RPG and probably would have been served better as a full-on RPG kind of deal than this hybrid thing. But like I said, the thing that really killed it for me was the randomness to the basic attack. It's like that just really needed some rhyme or reason to it to be an actually good battle system. Magic was fine outside of the ones where I had to hold down a button and then quickly tap another button. That took some getting used to. But once again, that's still consistent. That rather than this anticipatory stuff that just didn't come together in my estimation. Anyway, Twilight, you played some of the games, so what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I wasn't crazy about the battle system either. When I first started playing this, I was using a Xbox button prompt option, but then once I figured out I could switch to PS4 one and the and that wouldn't affect my controls anyway, and just let me see the PS4 face button prompts. I had an easier time since I actually have those ingrained to my memory. Yeah, and I did get tripped up a few times here and there, though. Still, especially during some of the magic or any skills that I wasn't familiar with. I especially don't like how with the magic, if you mess up just once, you just automatically fail. Unlike with the attacks, where it depends on these still go through, but they're not as effective if you fail at any of them. But actually, yeah, it takes some staying on your toes, unlike what you would expect with other RPGs. But I didn't dislike the battle system too much, unlike when I first started playing this game. Yeah, the platforming sections, the platform itself, yeah, I think it could have done a little bit more with it. I was expecting to find some secrets here and there, like maybe some hidden in a terrain type stuff, but I didn't really see that there. Just so yeah, I thought it was okay. The whole wall jumping thing, though. There's a few times I would be trying to jump up a wall and I would accidentally bounce off of it unintentionally, doing the wall kick thing. think that could use a little bit of work there. It annoyed me here and there, but yeah, I do overall like this game. I just have to say it won't be for everybody, though. Not even some people, when it comes to RPGs, will prefer something a tad bit more relaxing instead of having to be constantly on your toes all the time. Though there are some other RPGs that does that, but yeah, yeah, I really can't say anything else I could add to it. Yeah, that's also the music didn't stand out to me either. Yeah, overall, yeah, I actually liked it myself, and I wouldn't mind going back to it at some point to continue seeing how this whole story plays out. But I have to move on. So, yeah, does anybody have any questions about this game?
I think I'm good.
I think I'm good.
Mm.
All right,
Yeah.
so that'll about do it for Viola here. Be sure to tune in after the break, as Petty will be reviewing Balancelot.